On this day, January 21, 1830, Battle Vueltas del Ocote. For this date, Francisco Morazán made the battle Vueltas del Ocote. A neighbor of Catacamas named LORENZO SÁNCHEZ, who was part of the faction that fought Morazán in Las Vueltas del Ocote on January 21, 1830, relates the following. Several days had passed without the enemy appearing until January 21, one of the lookouts that was half a league away from our camp. He left his post to come and tell us that an army was approaching and that it was probably from Morazán. Another watchman brought us the same news, and only the defense was thought of. Each chief occupied his trench with the people of his command. Colonel CONCEPCIÓN CARDONA, with machete in hand, walked the line of the trenches. The lancers under the command of Captain Francisco MOZA of Zapota, in a chariot with this cavalry, waiting for the order to move to leave wading the slopes of the hills to attack Morazán's force from behind. A short time after waiting we heard a clarion that played "Stop!" and then a thud. They were the drums of the Morazán Army that stopped to arrange the attack. We hoped, full of enthusiasm, to see the guerrillas of the enemy of the slopes of the hills that we had dismantled and repelled their attacks with good rifles that had brought us those defeated by Morazán himself. Half an hour later we saw a single man appear who was coming in the direction of our camp. We were all surprised and thought it was some officer who came from the enemy to propose us to surrender. The man did not stop on his march. He came covered with a red hat, white pant, black jacket, a white scarf on his neck, high boots, and he wore a chilio in his hand by gun. As he approached, the factions recognized him, but we did not distinguish the color by the bird that had it a little grown, and near our camp, when trying to climb the hill, he was recognized by some of the chiefs, who were sure that he was General Morazán. Immediately they all met and arranged to go to meet him. "Let's go," said Colonel Cardona, "to receive him." "Attention!" he claims, "attention!" and they set off until they find it. They greet each other by shaking hands, talk a little in the shade of an oak tree to shelter from the sun that was very strong. The whole army was silent. It seemed that something serious was going to happen, something that would suit everyone, while the chiefs who surrounded Morazán heard the word that addressed them, playing a smile on his lips. After some conversation, Colonel Cardona left the group and unsheathed his machete, went to the army that remained standing, and shouted, "We will not fight! Long live General Morazán!" Immediately our chiefs hugged him, and he did the same. We answered the viva with all the strength of our chest, and we remained silent. A few moments later Cardona came to the trenches and ordered us to fill a pot of food from which we had prepared for our lunch. He told us these words: "General Morazán will have lunch with us. There will not be more war. Here we are going to capitulate, and we will not be bothered in any way. Then, while we make arrangements with him, because from here we will go to our homes with all guarantees." That news was of great joy for all. Arranged the pot full of salted meat and bananas, prepared the guacales in which they were served. We broke some rapaduras of sweet and took them to lunch we had on the ground. Morazán very cheerful with everyone. There was no longer any distinction. We were friends. This was a day in the history of Honduras.